Yes.
I would like to know, because this ASEAN-China summit, our Prime Minister Li Keqiang gave a 5-point proposal to commit to work with ASEAN to build a common idea, common prosperity, and common responsibility to a shared future. So I would like to know how's your comments about this, and what do you see the Chinese new leadership's diplomacy? Thank you.
If you have read book 100 Years Marathon, you'll get so many answers to your question. But it is something which is really a matter of geopolitics. Geography is always changing. Like Africa used to be what? An assembled of tribes, Arabs there. But when the West came in, made use of their natural resources, and decided to cut the whole continent into pieces. One, the Westerners. Germany had it. Britain was also there to get the share. And they created an empire, the Western world, an industrial empire, using the resources of other people. And in the process, putting down revolutions, because people there decided that somebody else is messing up with the resources of my country. And they were the first Westerners who went there, made use of the oil in numbers, and built their industrialization ahead. So leaving behind, that's history. Changing the geopolitical, it is always something like might is right, and right is might. Same thing in Asia. It will change. We, the Philippines, were occupied by the Spaniards for 400 years. America, 50 years. Malaysia was a gift for the British, and Indonesia under the Dutch. So now it is 2 generations, 3 generations later. There's a shifting of geopolitical powers. And now there are territories that, and these terrorists are now concentrating in building up a caliphate, and they want other to establish their claim, just like what they were doing in Marawi. Well, I'm not about ready to donate even an inch of my country. Mga Filipino, they have no land. They raided the National Housing Authority, building houses for the soldiers. And they went there to occupy, they left, and claimed the property as theirs. And I told the soldiers, lay off. I'll just build you a new one, much bigger. The concession was, or the common was, just leave them. Give it, it's your Filipino brother. They simply are also poor. If they are rich, then they would not be messing up with the government. So Kadamay and the rest got the properties, and I said, go away. Let's go back to the camp, and let's have save enough for. That was my dream, but the Marawi siege happened. And so even if I have the property, I could not build the houses for the soldiers. It's just a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice for your country. I said, I look for the money somewhere. But to be accepting dollars from a country who thinks that you're a killer, Why come to us and offer something? Keep your money. Do not meddle up with the sovereignty of my country. Do not impose conditions. I am not about to. We are not rich. We are poor. A third world country. But you do not bargain the dignity by accepting their money, and they would make conditionalities that are not really acceptable to us, because it trims on the edge of violation of our sovereignty. As president, I have to protect the sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines. I have to maintain that even at the expense of being pictured as a birdogo, an executioner. Fine. What about it? Anyway, my duty is to my country. I only answer to the Philippines. I will not answer to any other bullshit, especially foreigners. Layoff. Nobody ever mentioned about human rights violation. No one was ready to ask, either private or public. The Canadians were talking about aid, assistance, and I said, how Canada is. It's a democracy. Fine, it's a working democracy. I do not force anybody there to give that clearance or whatever. Just like what happened months before. We bought we were trying to buy 23,000 rifles because I already had some intelligence report that the country is afire. And the intelligence showed that there was this build-up in Marawi, which could be precipitated any moment because it was fine. But mind you, I am a descendant from that Marawi. My grandmother, the mother of my mother. And you would see how painful it was to give the order for the soldiers to go in. And what took the military so long? Not their fault. It was my order not to touch the mosque and the Holy Shrine because it will inflame the Muslims everywhere. And they were asking for clearance to bomb. Certainly not. I will not allow you. And into the 4th month, they decided to confront me. We cannot go there without, because our losses, the lives, were breaching the 100 mark. I think I lost something like 167. But in Mindanao, I've been telling you that Shabu was fueling terrorism. And because that was really an issue, nobody would believe me. But I was warning because I had some relatives telling me that there is something there which is about to explode. And if you remember, I was warning every day, everybody, do not force my hand into it. I was actually directing my statement to the terrorists. Because if you do, I will not hesitate to declare martial law. So when they started the siege, I said, and you asked me, all of you media, when will this end? I cannot really destroy the place because there it's the interest of our country. There are 2 million Filipinos, laborers and domestic helpers working there. Then if you do not use your coconut, that is something that will be out of control by that time. And so I had to explain, because I was holding the military up. They were in near desperation because the losses were there. I had to call everybody. Some kings, and I said, I cannot hold the military longer for 6 months. Maybe they will shoot me. And I said, I have to. Finally, I said, well, I gave to Secretary Lunisana. So just confer with your generals and you decide how to win the war. And so it did. But I told the Marawi guys, I will rebuild Marawi. And I'm looking for money. So you would have noticed the tax collection is good under Dulay. We have been able to force taxpayers, airlines who never paid anything. And during my term, I said, you have to pay or I will sell your planes. Make your choice. And the elite of this country who were holding government lands, making business out of it without even turning a single centavo to government who rightfully owns property. And at then I said, look, but maybe I'm toying the idea. I will sue you for plunder. Plunder is non-bailable. So you guys, you return the money now. Because if I file a case against you, when the case is filed in court, you cannot bail yourself out because it is non-bailable. All of you, I said, and I was addressing to the elite of this, 400 of society, they say, do not find refuge in my, you can kill me, you can impeach me, try your luck there, but there will be no compromises. I do not agree on these things. I do not compromise the interest of my country and people. You can be sure of that.